Hello everybody, my name is Brian Hussar and welcome to my channel. This is where I talk about my passions of the Beatles, music, movies, and musical theater. And I'm going to do another unedited video today, and I think when I talk about films and Blu-rays and things like that, I'm going to do these as unedited as I can. And I felt I would do another Blu-ray review after the last one because I'm just excited about this release. The Criterion Collection edition of Midnight Cowboy. Best Picture winner, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Original Screenplay. The first X-rated film to win for Best Picture. And it's X-rated, it's not a pornographic film, but because of subject matter, because of certain things in there, they said, we have to make it an X. But after it won Best Picture, they gave it an R. They gave it an R. If you have not seen Midnight Cowboy, you need to go and see. You need whatever you need to do. Go out and buy it. Get this from Amazon. If you are a film nerd, a film fanatic, a cinephile, and you do not own this, you need to own this. This is a masterpiece. It is a classic. Jon Voight in a star-making performance as Joe Buck. Young man from Texas quits his dishwashing job to go to New York because he is going to set the rich ladies on fire for money. But trials and tribulations happen, and he has to take other jobs pleasuring other people so he could just pay the rent. Dustin Hoffman as Ratso Rizzo, heartbreaking performance, who befriends Joe Buck and sort of becomes his manager. And in a strange way, this becomes a buddy picture. You have Jon Voight's character who never really had a friend. Never really sought to have a friend. And now he's got Ratso and he starts to care for him in a way that I don't think Ratso's ever felt cared for. This is a new 4K transfer of this classic film. Excuse me, unedited. One moment. Sorry about that. If I was editing this, I would cut that out. Beautiful transfer. I've seen this film several times. I've seen it on VHS back in the day in high school when I'm learning about all these films on my own, and I worked at a video store and I'm renting the things that I should know about. I was blown away by this film back then. Owned it on VHS. Owned the 25th anniversary edition of it that came on DVD that came out in 2004, 2005, around that time frame. Owned it when it came out on Blu-ray. Then each time, every transfer looked like it was fading, looked like it was getting brown, looked like it was just not right. Here, the colors are popping out. The transfer was done by the actual cinematographer, Adam Hollander. He consulted on the work Criterion did in getting it in 4K. So if you have a 4K Blu-ray player or a television, it will up-res this thing. It's going to look awesome. And in fact, a UHD 4K Blu-ray and a 4K transfer on a regular Blu-ray, the details, if you're watching it on a 4K television and player, are very subtle. So, brilliant transfer on Blu-ray of this thing. This is a famous film. This has that famous scene with Dustin Hoffman, which was not intended, by the way. It actually happened. They're walking across the street, and a cab almost hits them, and Hoffman goes, "Hey, I'm walking, yeah, I'm walking." Famous scene. Famous title song by Nelson, Freddie Neal. Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear a word they're saying. Only the echoes of my mind. Iconic. A New York that doesn't exist anymore. A Times Square that doesn't exist anymore. A Times Square that I think I would have loved to have walked around in, based on when I made my trips to New York later on. I need to get myself back to the Big Apple again. But One of the things that has come to my attention here is there's been some talk on a message board from people who don't know how this film had looked, but their memory is of the previous Blu-ray and DVD transfers, which there was much to be desired in those transfers. Oh, they changed the color. There's a green tint. There's a green tint. There isn't a green tint in the film. There's one scene that has a green fluorescent light in it. But a lot of people from my generation who've never seen these films in the theater, we think we know how these films are supposed to look because of inferior transfers that we have seen. But I trust the people who were there. I read the reviews from back then that talk about how the film is supposed to look. And a restoration is supposed to get it to look the way it did when it first came out, including without scratches. Because if you saw the film in 35mm opening weekend, there'd be no film scratches. You got that, Christopher Nolan, and your unrestored 2001: A Space Odyssey talk? Huh? You got that? That's another topic, by the way. But I'll be seeing that June 16th in 70mm. That's another topic. And another thing, too, I just recently subscribed to the Chicago Tribune archive, where you're able to go back and take a look at all the actual newspapers that they had over the years. And I was doing it for nostalgia, remembering of the days when I was going to movies and seeing the ads, especially in high school, when I would take a look at the Friday section of the Tribune or the Weekend Plus section of the Chicago Sun-Times. Siskel wrote for the Tribune, Ebert wrote for the Sun-Times, and I would read each of their reviews, and I would look at the ads and see where it's showing, what theater I want to see this movie in. And in the early part of the 90s, you still had 70mm screenings. And then I decided to go back further to the time when I wasn't born. And I decided to go back to 1969 when this came out. And the interesting thing is that this advertisement, and they weren't the big ads, but they were big enough. They had their corner of the paper. And this, I think, was showing at the Woods in Chicago, I believe. I'll have to take a look at that. If any of you Chicagoans who are my age should know the Woods or a generation before. And this was given just as much space as the big Hollywood epic roadshow film, or Disney film at the time coming out. And it was a time when everything was given equal attention. A foreign film, an art house film, a B movie, an X-rated adult film. Everything was given equal attention. A big Hollywood epic, 70mm roadshow epic. Everything was given attention. Now, I love the Marvel films. I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I thought Avengers Infinity War was a masterpiece, by the way. And I need to do a video about that and my thoughts on that now that the hype is over with. But there doesn't seem to be room for everything anymore, and that's kind of sad. Yes, let's do the Marvel films. Yes, let's do the big epics. But yes, give equal attention to the smaller films, the independent films, the serious dramas. Let there be expensive historical epics again. So taking a look at all of this, I'm seeing on the main page with a big Hollywood commercial film, the directorial debut by French director Claude Barry, The Two of Us. And over and over again, every week when I'm looking at these ads. And same thing with Midnight Cowboy. And how you could judge a film back then was how long it was held over at the theater. Second smash week, third smash week, fourth smash week, held over again for the seventh smash week. So I wish we could make things equal for everybody, give everybody a chance again. That's all I ask, Hollywood. But Midnight Cowboy, it's a masterpiece. If you're a film geek, a film nerd, you need to own this. You need to see it. And that's my Blu-ray review. And I'm Brian Hussar. And now, my wife just came in. My kids allowed me to finish this. You all have a great weekend. I'll see you on my next video. And until we meet again.